Well, hello, boys and girls. How are you today? Are you having a nice day? I hope so. We are here, of course, for science. We are going to do another science lesson. This is Mr. Broussard, and we are going to continue our journey into our planet, inside our planet. What's there? We have learned quite a bit, but we are not in the center yet. We normally concentrate on the things that we can see, right? Like the plants and the animals and the sun and the rain and all of those things. But we want to know as much as possible about the planet that we live on, which is the only one that we know can support life. So we need to know as much as possible how it works, right? So we are going to continue. So we've already explored two of the layers. Do you remember the first one? What was the first layer that we learned about? That's right, the crust. And what can we say about the crust? So try to think about the things that we learned or look back in your notes. What about the crust? All right, so let's see. It is the thinnest layer. It is the outermost layer. It is on top of the mantle. The temperature increases as we get deeper. The crust is made up of large plates. Anything else that you remember about the crust? What material is it made of? Just think about where we're standing. That's right, rocks and soil. Yeah, that's the crust, rocks and soil. What was the next layer, the one that is right under the crust? Do you remember the next layer? Come on, look back at your notes if you don't remember. That's right, the mantle. And what are some things that you could, or that you can remember about the mantle? What are some things that you wrote down? Come on, let's share them right now. All right. So it is under the crust. It is the thickest layer. It is the thickest layer. What else? What else? Oh, where the mantle meets the crust, it is solid. And as we get deeper, the mantle is partially melted. So what did that mean, partially? Part. So is it a complete liquid? No. We discussed that it was kind of like a very thick, so it's not totally melted. It's super hot, and the rocks are not hard like we see them. They are kind of like maybe a little bit like, like the like a very thick hand sanitizer, maybe a little thicker than that. So it doesn't just, it's not like water, it's not like juice, it's sort of melted, right? Partially melted. So it's got to be pretty hot in there if those rocks are being partially melted, huh? So let's look at our learning target to see what it is that we're going to be doing today. I'm sure you already know, right? Well, I already told you that we're going to continue our journey into the center of the earth, but what specifically are we going to concentrate on today? So our learning target is I can explain what the earth looks like and feels like inside, okay? So we've already sort of talked about that, but we'll go into a little bit more detail. But specifically, we're going to concentrate on the outer core, okay? So that is the layer that we want to examine today, outer core, okay? So if you want to do a heading in your notebook, you can put outer core. So far we have done the crust. You can see how thin it looks in this diagram, right? And last time we did the mantle, which is very thick, and it is actually the thickest layer. Well, today, this is the one that we're gonna do. This is the outer core. And look at the different colors. And that's not just to make the drawing or the diagram colorful. No, of course, this is the way that they actually look. So right here, this is where we're gonna stay most of the time today. The outer core. What I would like you to do now is I want you to take a few minutes and in your notebooks or whatever it is that you take notes, it could be a Google Doc, I want you to just, without looking at anything, just by what you know about the crust and what you know about the mantle, write a few things about the outer core. What do you think it's made of? What is the temperature? What does it look like? Okay, so write a few things, just predict or make some inferences as what you think the outer core is like. All right, so time to write. All right, so did you write a bunch of stuff? I hope so. So why don't you share now with your classmates, what do you think that this outer core looks like, feels like? So now that you made some inferences and that you share your inferences with your classmates, let's actually go in there and see what's going on in the outer core. And to find out more about the outer core, we are going to go to a website. Okay, let me show you the link. It's this one right here. Facts about Earth outer core. DK find out. Okay, so you can click on that, or your teacher is going to do that for you, and we are going to explore that website and read there to be able to find out more about the outer core, which is our target today. So if you are on that site, we can see this diagram here. It is interactive. Okay, so we can actually, it's 3D, right? 3D, we discussed the word three-dimensional before. So we can actually see more clear the thickness of each layer, okay? So if we look over here, we can click on that and it will give you, right? We know that that's the crust, but you can do that on your own, and then you can go to the next one and the next one. But we're gonna concentrate on this one today. So this is the crust. Right here is the mantle, and this is the outer core. So let's click on that, and let's read what it has for us. It says, this is the third and only liquid layer of the Earth. Whoa, liquid? Why do you think it's liquid? What do you think the temperature is there if it's liquid? Well, let's see. It is responsible for the Earth's magnetic field, okay? The Earth's magnetic field. And we're gonna learn a little bit more about that in a moment. So let's read together, okay? Outer core. The center of the Earth is made up of two layers, the outer core and the inner core. So we're not gonna be talking too much about the inner core today, just the outer core. The outer core is the third layer of the Earth. It is the only liquid layer, and it is mainly made up of the metals, iron and nickel, as well as a small amount of other substances. The outer core is responsible for Earth's magnetic field. And now it's going to give us a little explanation about the magnetic field. As Earth spins on its axis, the iron inside the liquid outer core moves around. The movement causes powerful electric currents to develop in the liquid from itself. Wait a minute, that didn't make any sense. In the liquid iron itself, these powerful currents cause lines of invisible force to stretch around the Earth and thousands of miles into space, creating a magnetic field. So what are some things that we can write about the outer core? Start writing. What are some things that we learned about it? These are some of the things that I wrote. So it is the third layer of the earth. Okay, so you can start adding things if you didn't have that. Okay. It is right under the mantle, of course. It is completely liquid. So not partially, but completely liquid. It is made mostly of iron and nickel. And it is responsible for our planet's magnetic field. So if you didn't write that, you can pause the lesson and then write the things that I wrote, okay? Or you could read the article again. You have the website, okay? And you might have found more things. Okay, so make sure that you have all of that information written about the outer core. So what have you noticed about the temperature of the layers? What have you noticed about the temperature of the layers? Starting with the crust, the mantle, and the outer core. So as we move deeper, the layers get hotter, right? As we move deeper, the layers get hotter. What else have you noticed? What else have you noticed now about thinking about the layers? So let's not think about the temperature, but think about the state, okay? The state. So we have liquid, we have solid, we have gas, and we have plasma, which is that one that is sort of like in between, right? So think about it now, and what happens, thinking about the state of these layers, what happens as we get deeper? So did you notice that as we move deeper, of course we're not literally moving deeper, but as we study moving deeper into the earth, the layers go from solid to partially liquid to totally liquid. And how is this related to the temperature? How is it related to the temperature? What is the relationship between the temperature and the state of the layers? Well, I think you know enough now in 4th grade to know that when something is hot, right, it's going to melt stuff. So the hotter it gets, the more liquidy it gets, right? Now, I have another question for you. How hot does it have to be to have melted iron and melted nickel? Those are metals. Well, guess what? That is going to be our next lesson. So we're not going to move into the center yet next lesson. We are going to stay and explore a little bit the outer core and those materials. What are the two materials? The two main materials? Iron and nickel, okay? And we are going to explore how it is that they are melted, okay? How can we melt those metals? Well, we're not melting them, but we can. We can melt nickel and iron, not deep inside the earth. That's something else going on there. So we're going to have another lesson for that. Let's look at our learning target for today and see if we have accomplished that. The learning target is I can explain what the earth looks like and feels like inside, specifically the outer core. Well, yes, we have we looked at that the diagram, right? That looked like a piece of pie, and what each layer looked like, what it felt like. We talked about temperature, we talked about composition, we talked about state, right? And we are not finished with this outer core. We want to dig a little bit deeper, right? Pun intended. A little bit deeper to find out a little bit about this melted metal, okay? So thank you for joining me today for science. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Make sure that you have all the notes taken. Go back and make sure that you have enough written for the crust, for the mantle, and for the outer core. So you should have now 3, right? And next lesson is going to be, again, about the outer core, okay? So have a wonderful day. Remember that science is everywhere. Just look for it, okay? Bye-bye.